March 6th into the early hours of March 7th, something happens inside the sun that most people will sleep straight through. And if you sleep through it, you will spend the next several months wondering why a particular truth keeps circling back, why a particular conversation still hasn't happened, why the version of your life you keep almost living feels like it's standing just outside a door that won't fully open. This is not another retrograde warning. This is not a reminder to back up your files or double-check your calendar invites. What is about to happen on March 7th, 2026 in the early morning hours, before most of the Northern Hemisphere has made coffee, is something that ancient astrologers called the heart of the sun. A moment they studied for centuries. A moment they feared, revered, and built their most sacred interpretive frameworks around. Mercury, currently retrograde in Pisces, is about to enter the Cazimi. And if you are already feeling it, the strange inner stillness, the dreams that won't hold their shape, the name that surfaces just before sleep, the sentence that forms in your chest but never reaches your mouth, that means the preparation has already begun. Your system already knows what's coming. The question is whether you will be awake enough to receive it. Stay with me, because what the next 4 days contain is unlike anything else in this year's sky. Here is what most people don't understand about Mercury retrograde in Pisces. They spend it waiting for confusion to lift, waiting for clarity to arrive like a weather system moving through. They treat the retrograde as an obstacle, a period of malfunction, a time to pause and survive. And in doing so, they miss the entire point. Mercury retrograde in Pisces is not malfunction. It is excavation. It is the kind of inner movement that doesn't make noise, that doesn't announce itself in your calendar or your inbox. It moves through the part of you that runs beneath language, beneath reason, beneath the story you've been telling yourself and everyone around you about who you are and what you need. It moves through the architecture of your emotional body, the rooms you closed off, the doors you locked years ago and told yourself you'd revisit when the time was right. And now, right now, Mercury has been moving backward through those rooms, retrograde since the 26th of February at 22 degrees and 33 arc minutes of Pisces, the exact degree the ancient texts associated with what Rhetorius of Egypt called the dissolving of the veil between what is felt and what is known. Mercury has been collecting evidence, gathering testimony, listening to the parts of you that are not permitted to speak in your waking life. And on March 7th, it carries that testimony directly into the heart of the sun. This is the Cazimi, from the Arabic translation of the Greek phrase for "in the heart of the king." When a planet reaches exact inferior conjunction with the sun, within 17 arc minutes of absolute precision, it does not burn. It does not combust. It does not go silent the way planets do when they orbit too close to the solar flame. Instead, it enters the innermost chamber. It is received, and what it has gathered in its retrograde passage is now purified, refined, and spoken with the full authority of solar fire. In other words, the truth Mercury has been excavating from your depths is about to become undeniable. Not suggested, not hinted at, not a vague intuition you can dismiss over a second glass of wine. Undeniable, solar, burning and precise. The Cazimi occurs at 16 degrees and 52 arc minutes of Pisces. Write that down. That is the degree where the suppressed becomes sacred, where the unspoken finally finds its form. In the Chaldean symbolic system, the 16th degree of Pisces was associated with the messenger crossing the final threshold, the figure who has traveled through the underworld of feeling and emerges not broken, but clarified, not undone, but refined. This is not coincidence. This is the degree that was chosen cosmically for this event. And the content of what emerges at this degree will be specific to whatever in your life has been most submerged, most sealed, most patiently waiting for the right quality of light. Now, there are 3 categories of truth that the Pisces Cazimi specializes in illuminating. 3 domains where the solar purification strikes with the most force. 3 areas of your life that will not be able to maintain their habitual fog after March 7th passes through. The first is the truth in your words. Mercury rules language, communication, the signals you send and the signals you withhold. And in Pisces, the sign of dissolution, of depth, of the oceanic unconscious, the words that carry the most weight are almost always the ones that have never been spoken. The conversations you've rehearsed in the shower for months but never had. The boundary you've known needed to be drawn, but kept postponing because the timing never felt right. The feeling you've been circling in your own mind for so long that it's worn a groove in you. Pisces Mercury retrograde does not put words in your mouth. What it does is reveal the cost of keeping them locked in your chest. It surfaces the weight, the accumulation, the quiet toll of self-editing on a daily basis. And the Cazimi at 16 degrees 52 will crystallize this into something you cannot continue to unsee. You will feel the shape of the conversation you haven't had with a precision that makes further avoidance feel impossible. This is not pressure. This is clarity. The universe is not forcing you to speak. It is removing the internal ambiguity that allowed you to keep choosing silence. After March 7th, you will know exactly what needs to be said, exactly to whom, exactly what the withholding has been costing you. What you do with that knowledge is yours to decide. But the not knowing? That ends here. Pay attention to what surfaces in your body between now and March 7th. A tightening in the throat. A sentence that starts forming when you're not consciously thinking. A memory of a specific conversation that ended before its real subject was ever named. These are not random. These are Mercury delivering testimony directly to your nervous system before the solar hearing begins. The second truth is the one embedded in your bonds. Relationships held by habit rather than genuine desire are the specialty of Pisces retrograde. This sign is ruled by Neptune, the planet of dissolution, illusion, and the inability to see clearly what is directly in front of us. Pisces can make almost anything feel more meaningful than it actually is. It can bathe a connection in light that doesn't belong to it. It can make the familiar feel sacred simply because of its familiarity. And for weeks now, Mercury retrograde has been moving through the relationship structures you've maintained, not because they feed you, but because dissolving them feels like too large a disruption to manage. The Cazimi changes the lighting, immediately, completely. At 16 degrees 52 Pisces, the sun's purifying fire does not care about your comfort. It does not care about the social architecture you've built around a connection that has quietly been draining you. It will illuminate the difference between love and obligation, between genuine resonance and the performance of resonance, between a relationship that has a future that belongs to you and a bond that only makes sense when examined in the rearview mirror of what you used to need. This illumination is not meant to be cruel. It is meant to be merciful. Because the cruelest thing the cosmos can do is allow you to continue investing years into something that cannot hold what you are becoming. The Cazimi is a kindness dressed in fire. Notice the relationships that feel different in your body over the next 48 hours. The ones that feel lighter when you imagine them clearly. The ones where the thought of an honest conversation brings relief instead of dread. And the ones where something in you quietly recoils from full transparency, because full transparency would require an ending you're not ready to name out loud yet. You don't have to act immediately, but you have to see clearly. That is what March 7th demands. The third truth, and the most consequential one, is the truth about yourself. Specifically, the version of yourself you have been presenting to the world, and the version that waits in the interior, patient and precise, knowing that the current arrangement is a temporary performance and not a permanent state of being. Mercury in Pisces rules the counterfeit self, the self that adapted, that learned what the environment required and shaped itself accordingly, not out of weakness, out of survival intelligence. The self that became skilled at appearing to be what others needed, while the authentic current ran beneath, mostly unnamed, mostly unshared, mostly protected by the same oceanic depth that Pisces always provides. The Cazimi at 16 degrees 52 Pisces is a moment of solar X-ray. It penetrates the performance, not to punish it, not to expose it with shame, but to show you, with the clarity of solar fire, the distance between where you are and where you actually belong, between what your life looks like from the outside and what it feels like from the inside, between the face you show at the table and the intelligence that sits behind your eyes, knowing that none of this is quite right. This is the third truth that burns, and it is the one that, once seen, permanently reorders the architecture of your choices. If your life has been feeling counterfeit despite looking functional, if you have been surrounded by the right circumstances but missing the right feeling, if success has begun to feel like a convincing imitation of what you actually want, the Cazimi will name that. Precisely, without metaphor. In the interior language you cannot ignore. And then it will ask you the only question that matters. What will you do now that you know? Here is where the cosmic sequence becomes extraordinary. March 7th does not exist in isolation. It is the central act of a three-part movement that the sky has been building for weeks and will continue resolving into March 10th and beyond. This is not a single event, it is a precision sequence. The eclipse on March 3rd was the first movement. Groundbreaking. Exposure. The surfacing of what had been buried beneath layers of silence and deferred reckoning. Eclipse energy does not ask permission before it acts. It cracks. It disrupts. It removes what was always temporary to reveal what has always been real. If the last week has felt destabilizing, if you have felt the ground shift beneath something you thought was settled, that was the eclipse completing its assigned function. It prepared you for what March 7th carries. March 7th is the second movement. The Cazimi itself. Solar purification of everything Mercury has gathered in its retrograde descent. This is the revelation. The burning. The moment when the truth that has been circling finally finds its precise and irreducible form. And then, March 9th, Mercury trines Jupiter at 15 degrees. Cancer. This is not a minor transit. Jupiter is currently exalted in Cancer, the sign of its maximum dignity, the place where its gifts of expansion, permission, and forward motion operate with the greatest power. A trine between Mercury at the height of its Cazimi clarified awareness and Jupiter at the peak of its exaltation is the cosmic equivalent of insight meeting opportunity in the same room at the same time. Whatever the Cazimi reveals, the March 9th trine turns into a direction. Clarity becomes action plan. Understanding becomes the next step. The abstract insight finds its practical form. The truth that burned on March 7th becomes the plan that moves on March 9th, and then March 10th, Jupiter stations direct. After months of apparent backward motion, after months of stalled growth and the feeling that something large and important has been waiting just beyond reach, Jupiter turns forward. The doors that have been closed without explanation open. The momentum that has been held in suspension begins to flow. The path that the Cazimi illuminated is now open enough to walk. Eclipse. Cazimi. Trine. Direct station. 4 movements. 7 days. 1 coherent sequence, and you are moving through the exact center of it. Venus and Neptune are also in Aries as this sequence unfolds. This is not incidental. The heart-opening energy of Venus and the dissolution of Neptune operating in the sign of initiation means that the revelations of the Cazimi are not just intellectual, they are physical, they are emotional. They will be felt in the body before they are processed by the mind. Do not make the mistake of trying to think your way through the next 4 days. The thinking will come after. Right now the instruction is to feel, to notice, to receive. The ancient practitioners who tracked the Cazimi cycle, Sal ibn Bishr in the 9th century, Guido Bonatti in the 13th, described the planet in the heart of the sun as the messenger who speaks with royal authority, not with the tentative voice of opinion, with the finality of what has been decided at the highest level. When Mercury enters the sun's heart in the early hours of March 7th, it will speak, And what it says will carry that quality, the quality of something that has already been decided, that was always true, that the fog of Pisces simply delayed your ability to see. This is not the cosmos doing something to you. This is the cosmos creating the conditions for you to see yourself clearly, perhaps for the first time in months. What you do with that clarity is entirely your own responsibility. The sky does not follow through for you. It only provides the light. The window between now and March 10th is your working window. Here is how to move through it consciously. Between now and the morning of March 7th, reduce the noise. Not because silence is virtuous, but because what Mercury is about to deliver needs enough space to be heard. The interior transmission that arrives in a Cazimi is frequently subtle before it is dramatic. It can arrive as a sentence that forms fully before you intended to think it, a dream image that lingers, a physical sensation in the chest or the throat that belongs to a specific person or situation without explanation. Honor these as early transmissions. Write them down. Do not edit them into something more palatable. Write the raw version. On March 7th itself, create intentional stillness early in the day if your schedule allows. The Cazimi's peak occurs in the early morning hours Eastern Time, but the energy is not confined to an hour. The entire day carries the resonance of what the solar fire has revealed. This is not the day for performative productivity. This is the day to receive, to sit with what you know, to let the burning be clean instead of chaotic. Between March 7th and March 9th, the gap between Cazimi and Trine is for digestion. The truth has been delivered. Now your system needs time to integrate it before the Trine asks you to move. Resist the urge to take dramatic action in this window. The insight is real, but the direction is still consolidating. Trust the Trine to arrive and organize what the Cazimi has revealed. Jupiter exalted in Cancer operates through gut knowing. When March 9th arrives, you will feel the direction in your body before you can fully articulate it in language. After March 9th, when the Trine has activated and Jupiter is moving toward its direct station, begin making the first moves. Small, specific, rooted in what you actually know rather than what sounds philosophically elegant. The grand gesture can wait. The first real step is what the cosmos is watching for. The universe responds to proof of integration, not declaration of intention. There is one final thing that needs to be said about this sequence. The March 7th Cazimi at 16 degrees 52 Pisces falls in a degree that the Sabian symbolic system associates with the navigator who has crossed the open sea, returning with knowledge that transforms the territory. This is the image of someone who left the known world, descended into depth, and returned with something real. Not a theory, not a philosophy, a specific piece of irreplaceable knowledge that only the depth crossing could produce. You have been in the depth. You may not have chosen to enter it consciously. Mercury retrograde in Pisces rarely asks permission. But you have been in it, processing, dissolving, releasing, letting things that once seemed permanent become more fluid, and on March 7th, the solar fire receives your testimony from the crossing. The navigator doesn't return the same. The Cazimi doesn't leave you unchanged. What burns away is the fog. What remains is the part of you that is specific, real, irreducible, and ready. The refined version. The one the retrograde was always trying to reveal. This 4-day window, March 7th through March 10th, is one of the most precisely structured sequences in this year's sky. Eclipse breaks the ground. Cazimi delivers the revelation. Trine organizes it into direction. Jupiter direct opens the path. You have arrived here at the right moment. That is not sentiment, that is cosmology. Now be still enough to hear it. If you're still watching, I want to thank you for your presence here and for taking this seriously, because this sequence deserves to be taken seriously. Media, consider subscribing so that you're here when the next pivotal window arrives. And in the comments below, I genuinely want to know, what has Mercury retrograde been excavating for you over these past weeks? What truth has been circling? What conversation has been forming? Let this be the space where that gets named. See you in the next one.